During the riots, Lightfoot was like, hey, yeah, it's only property. Let them destroy it. But when the protesters start moving towards her house, she had a district-side police department blockade her whole block to protect her house.
Oh, the mayor?
The mayor.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys a story about something that just happened in Belltown near Seattle. This might have happened in Seattle, but it's about a woman and a man, Aina Kwan and Sung Kwan. They're the owners of Aburia Bento House, which is a restaurant in Belltown, right? They're at a red light. Surveillance video shows this. They're stopped at a red light in their Tesla for absolutely no reason at all. A guy just walks up to the window and just pop, 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 and just shoots 4 shots into Aina Kwan, the woman.
Oh my
Gets her in
God.
the head, and then shoots through the arm of Sung Kwan.
Oh.
So as that happens, there's a guy nearby. His name's Randy, and I believe he's like he may be like an off-duty kind of first responder kind of guy. So he like sees it, he runs over, he tries to help. He has some like gauze, and the man Sung is pleading with him to help save her. So they both like try to put pressure on the wound on her head. The dude doesn't even realize he's had his arm like shot through. But by the time the paramedics arrived, she wasn't breathing anymore.
Whew.
And yeah, she didn't make it. They get her to the hospital, and where she passed away, turned out she was pregnant.
Another one of these.
Why you give stories like this so sad?
And then at the hospital, they were able to do an emergency C-section, and
The baby's
Save the
alive.
baby?
Oh wow.
but the baby didn't make it.
Oh.
Yeah, the baby.
Why you do that again?
The baby died after they got the baby out.
And then they just got a shipment of a puppy that day. And then the puppy, because they didn't go home.
And a tornado came and
The
took
puppy suffocated in a box.
God.
Damn it, dude.
There's no winning.
Why?
There's no winning.
Yeah, the tornado threw the puppy into orbit
Fuck you guys.
with the satellites now. No, the rest of that stuff's true. Yeah, so the baby died. The shooter turned out to be this man named Cordell Gooseby, who was a guy living in a homeless encampment right by that area. He admitted to the murder and said he shot at them because he thought they had a gun. So he's just like a random crazy guy.
Kooky, yeah.
Felon from Illinois, and his firearm was reported stolen from the Lakewood area.
In the Washington?
Yeah, so it almost has every single feature of things that it's almost like the perfect storm of everything that goes wrong from the law, like in a weird way.
It's like, why wasn't he
Like
in jail?
legislatively,
Or like,
he
why
got
was-
through every single like hoop to end up right next to unlucky people that were unsuspecting and that had their lives pretty good and ended prematurely by something just like freak happening.
You know what's funny? It's not funny, but it's frustrating. When I was a cop, I've arrested many people with felony records that could have been a novel.
Ugh.
Right?
Yeah.
Murders that could have been prevented. Things that could have been prevented if the justice system did their job. We arrest them, we do our job, we write the report, we get them booked, they go in there, they go in the revolving door, they come back right back out.
Yep.
And it's constantly like that. And it's frustrating as fuck for us because we're like, man, I'm busting my ass, I'm putting my life on the line dealing with these 4X felons, 5X felons, but they know they're going to get out. Like, that could have been prevented.
Yeah.
He's a felon for whatever he caused. He could have spent more time in jail or done that. More time in jail he could have spent would have altered that time where that car would have went away that he would never got there.
Yeah.
That's why you ever heard the saying, like, when you're doing this type of job, it always pays to spend that split seconds to tell your loved ones, I love you, or kiss them. Because that split second might have changed your life from being killed.
Wow.
You know, and with this and everything else.
Damn. That's heavy.
Our buddy's a sheriff, and he was saying, like, recently it's been so weird where he has a warrant on these guys, he grabs them, and then the prosecutor won't actually do anything. Is that happening nationwide?
Oh, yeah. This happens all the time.
Or, like, is this a new phenomenon, like, new thing? Or, like, it was, like, they were actually prosecuting before, he said, but now they're not. Or, like...
So when you elect your DA, district attorney, he or she is the one that lays down the letter of the law of like, hey, we need to prosecute this ex-criminal, make sure they stay behind bars. Or they can be lenient about it and be like, hey, if it's this crime, no, we're not going to charge him. We're going to let him free. Or we're going to bump it down. I had so many attorneys, state's attorneys, where we came with a like letter of the law, follow the law, that this is a felon. Oh, we're not going to charge him with a felon. We're going to bump it down to a misdemeanor. And I'm just like,
What's the motivation to do that? Why
Well,
do
like,
they do this?
I'm wondering why it's happening in so many cities at the same time.
What's the benefit to? Because I've always
There's
tried
no
to
benefits.
understand why do they want to do that?
you know what? It beats the shit out of me. Sometimes I scratch my head too. It's like, don't you want to prosecute these people so they can understand like, hey, if I commit these crimes, I'm going to pay by doing time or like really getting punished. A lot of these people, they know like, oh, I'm going to do this crime. I'm going to come back out.
Is there a benefit to their personal political careers?
Oh, 100%.
So that's what it mostly is.
What
Yeah.
would that be? That like their
Lower crime rate or
liberal
something?
people enjoy it more when they do that? Like the stats of criminals being released? Like
Yeah, like why would DEA wanna show like lesser or not prosecute?
does that like rig the numbers at the end? But they go, look, during my time here,
Yeah,
we had less crime.
100%.
Oh,
So that's what
Like
it is.
recently, I think LA Times or whatever just posted that LA's about to go into a zero bail policy.
yeah.
So like if someone gets booked that night, they're getting let go that day. There's not even gonna have bail.
Chicago has something similar too. Like if it's this crime, and it's something fucking crazy too, like something that you should be spending jail for, they'll let you right back out.
Yeah, I'm like, what's the
Conspiracy time.
So like,
I'm really into this shit.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
have a question?
oh no, you go ahead. I was gonna ask
Okay.
about Mayor Lightfoot.
So, what I recently found out is some landlords back in the day, like tower, like in town. So, New York, they have rent control, right? Certain buildings before the years 1950 or whatever, I don't know the actual year.
Yeah.
They have a lot of tenants that pay cheap rent and they wouldn't leave or whatever, right? So, what these building landlords would do back in the day is basically they would get hookers, they would get homeless people, they would just let them stay, and then they'll do the work of like destroying and scaring all the tenants. And then if the tenants didn't want to leave because they were protesting and trying to like form a HOA and just be like, fuck you landlord, we're gonna stay, then they made it extremely disgusting and uncomfortable for those people to want to stay. And also the buildings would be crumbled and fucked up. Remember like when we watched all those old movies in New York where like all of the buildings were boarded up and all that? It's because those buildings were so like rent controlled that they couldn't make enough profit to actually make adjustments, like to fix it or whatever. So they just left it to rot. And then so my theory is that they're doing it at a citywide level. So like, what if you want cheap real estate, but it's expensive? You want to create low value by making it a shitty neighborhood deliberately. Lots of crime, people get scared, they move out, they sell their property, they're like, I don't want to be here anymore. It drives the price down. A city like LA or any major city is going to go up eventually, right? So you just buy it up, big companies come in, and then you clean it up. You know what I mean? You have your own team, the DAs, whatever, you finally start putting money back into the police force, and then you just, I don't know. That's my take on it.
You think it's the politicians want to buy up in their own neighborhoods, so they?
I don't think it's politicians. I think they're being hired by, like, let's say BlackRock, or like let's say like major corporations
Yeah.
that play the game.
Yeah.
I don't know, because there's conspiracies like George. Well, it's not even a conspiracy because it's proven, but George Soros destroyed Argentina's economy, and he was betting on that, and he made money. And it's like shit, like games that are so high level that we don't even know, you know?
This, yep.
The super powerful and rich player.
I believe it.
But I don't know. I don't have no evidence, right? That's just my take on it. Like, that could be the case. Like, why would someone want to fuck up their own city so hard?
Because I'm also like, it's so hard to turn a city around. Like, how do they make it where the property values do go up? Because cities, once they turn to shit, they generally stay shitty for a
It would take
long time.
for
Yeah.
it to even turn around anyways.
Well, when we were kids in the 80s and 90s, LA was a shithole. like cars on burning, trash cans, and then they turned it around and then they sold all this property, like in the 2000s. So I don't know. Maybe they're just doing the cycle again.
That would be really scary if that's.
Like they're playing with
Yeah, purposely.
Yeah.
That's the game, dude. Dirty it up, clean it up, dirty it up, clean it up.
But it does always make it so confusing as to what the real, like, if it's not that,
Yeah.
then the motivation to just keep going easy on criminals is so hard to figure out.
What is the logical point of this guy like beat up 3 people tonight? I bring him in and then I let him go.
I know that when I read liberal art, like heavily liberal arguments about it, they do bring up a lot of things about how, like, no, incarceration just makes criminals worse and makes more criminals, so they want to look to
Where are they getting that from?
alternative ways of corrective.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
But there's that time aspect that Trung's talking about,
Yeah.
where if had they just been put away even for 3 nights,
Yeah.
that's 3 nights of peace
Yes.
for the civilians.
Yeah.
Like that couple in the Tesla, had that person
Yeah.
already shot other people, if they've been doing their time, that's other couples that they wouldn't have shot.
That's what that hurts to me the most, is how, like, you have like a couple of honest people that their whole lives they've been by the book.
Yep.
They do everything like to a good standard, and yet they still have to watch out for just the random death that might happen at the hands of some person.
Everybody loves theory until it hits their block.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, let's do this, but make sure it stays in that neighborhood. Let's say if that happened, oh yeah, let's do that. Let's not lock these criminals up. Let them stay in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, let them run rampant in your neighborhood. See how fast that'll turn around. Where you'll be like, okay, we need to arrest these people.
That's what the key is. They don't let them run in
Yeah.
the
You
neighborhood.
know what's funny? Though I keep coming back to this riot thing because it's fucking crazy. Because I see it firsthand being a cop. During the riots, Lightfoot was like, hey, yeah, it's only property. Let them destroy it. But when the protesters start moving towards her house, she had a district-side police department blockade her whole block to protect her house.
Oh, the mayor?
The mayor.
Yeah.
But it's,
The left foot or whatever. Like,
yeah, Beetlejuice.
Yeah. She looks so crazy.
Careful, that's 2 times you've said it.
Beetlejuice.